Well, thanks for coming, as I've already said, and happy holidays. I know this is a period of time when there's a little uncertainty out there in the economy that makes people nervous, and we understand that, we respect that, but I think it is a reflection of the state and y'all's input over the course of the last few years as we did a number of things that have allowed Texas to find itself at a rather unique place economically. It was, Rob, when we were working on issues like the franchise tax, and when we were working on that budget back in 2003, and y'all's industries were being impacted by some of those decisions. And I want to tell you, from my perspective, I really appreciate the teamwork and the team concept that came out of it. The editorial that Tom and David and I wrote today, I think, is pretty reflective of working together, and the private sector has to be a part of that as well, and because we can make all the decisions in the world. If we don't have buy-in from those of you in the private sector, then we're not going to be successful. So I think the lesson here is that we have, particularly over the last 5 years, really created a good team from the private sector and the government working together, and that's not to try to sugarcoat what's going on internationally and nationally. And we're starting to feel the impact of it. $35 oil is having an impact across this state. That's a two-edged sword, I might add, that as those gasoline prices go down, I can promise you that John Esparza and the truckers are going, okay, that's better. And finding that balance out there. But stability, I think, is one of the most important things for the private sector, and that's what we have really tried to do and work towards. And the fact of the matter is, we're not going to hide from the challenges. We know they're out there. It's one of the reasons I sent the message to the state agencies and asked them to look at the discretionary spending, find the ways to reduce their discretionary spending, look at their travel, all those kind of things that I guess UT guys may have missed that message, you think? Sorry, a little aside there. But it is important for the agencies to look at ways to reduce our spending. It's that message that we sent back in 2003 that allowed us to find ourselves at this desired place today, and keeping the taxes low and fair, the regulatory climate balanced and predictable. It's very important, Hector, for your folks to know that we've got a predictable regulatory climate in this state. Yes, we're going to take care of the environment. Yes, we're going to protect the public, but we're not going to jerk the football out from under you after we've set the regulations in place. That predictability is so important. And obviously, my bet is every one of you have been very, very positively impacted by the tort reform that we passed back in 2003, and the help that has been to, again, as much protection from frivolous lawsuits and predictability for people that want to come in and make substantial investment in the state. And I know, you guys, Corbin, from the standpoint of whether it's the building side of AGC or whether it's the road construction side of AGC, what we're doing in this state, and some announcements that, knock on wood, we're going to be making in the not too distant future are going to be a very powerful message to those of you that are going to be continuing to build infrastructure, both buildings and highway transportation infrastructure projects. So anyway, my bottom line is I'm really proud of where we find ourselves today. We've worked hard together. We've made some tough decisions. You know, we've been criticized, but that's okay. A lot of that is all process questions and process driven. The result is we find ourselves as the strongest economy in the nation. Thanks to the work that you all have done, of the entrepreneur spirit that's represented around this table. And I want to just get some back and forth conversation going on here and you know, kind of, you know, I want to visit about what's going on in the apartment world, George, and what is it we need to be cautious about? You know, what is it that we might want to look at this session that can make sure that the folks who are renting your units and then the people that are building those units, are there some things that we need to do? So you all know where we're headed here. But before we start that conversation, I'd like to open it up to those of you in the media for any questions about what we're doing here, obviously far-flung questions as well.
Do you feel like there's any kind of package that needs any special package to deal with the economy that you need to push through the legislature?
Not necessarily. I think what we have done is set the markers in place. I tell people this is not difficult. You know, don't overthink where we are. What these men and women and people like them across the state respond to is keep the burden light on our businesses, particularly in this environment. The absolute worst thing we could do is raise your taxes right now. Absolute worst message that we could send to entrepreneurs is, gosh, things are tough in Austin and our budget's growing and we've got these needs and the only way we're going to be able to do that is raise your taxes. Now, I think I've heard that in some other states. And it is a sure cure, or excuse me, it is a sure, well, it's a sure cure for a strong economy. It'll cure up your economy pretty quick from the sense of turning it downward. It will sour the Texas economy if we're to raise taxes. So I don't think there's anything specific we need to do. I think we've made all the hard decisions. Steady as you go. Don't make any mistakes. Don't go spend all the money. If there's one overarching message to myself and to the members of the legislature in both bodies is don't spend all the money. You wouldn't go on a spending spree in the private sector right now. You're watching what you spend. We should not be any different.
Governor, with this gathering and the information that you get from these individuals that are here, what are you hoping to learn from them? What do you want to take back from this meeting?
Are there some sectors of the economy in Texas that are suffering? And if they are, is there reasons of decisions that we make in Austin, Texas, has that occurred? And at that particular point in time, Jay, it would be a response to, here's what we need to address. I don't think there is a big package of legislation that is going to need to be passed through for Texas to continue to be a leader in job creation. And I mean, we've actually put in place, I think, the blueprint for economic success. If other states had the same tax structure, regulatory climate, legal system, skilled workforce that we have, the American economy would be substantially better off.
So have you found in the previous roundtables that you've had like this that industry groups aren't asking for anything specific, different from what you've already been doing?
I won't say there aren't any that haven't asked for, you know, some specific tweak here, tweak there, but there has been no big overarching, here's what we have to pass this next session of the legislature for the Texas economy and the state of Texas and certain sectors. I mean, everybody's got their own specific needs and desires. This is going to be a session where we kind of separate wants from needs.